Greetings, folks. Uh, the name is Singima V. I'm the current director of Clubhouse International. You've probably seen me before if you've been watching this YouTube channel. Today we're starting a different sort of series. We've been around for a while now, so a lot of our alumni that we met when they were in primary school back then are now in university, are now doing professional things, are now movers and shakers in their communities. And we just want to start to talk to them and hearing some of their stories, as it were. And I'm so glad today. In fact, this man is the man who even inspired this idea. I'm here with Mr. Tonderai, right? Tonderai graduated, was with us back in 2016 to 2017. You finished primary school in 2017, yes?
2017, yes, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I have him on here. You're right, at Sheni Primary School, which is the same school that I went to. Shout out to Sheni. Um, Tonderai Mayisiri. And the reason, I didn't mention this part, the reason why he is the perfect person to talk to right now is he received a very prestigious scholarship he'll be telling us about, and is currently studying in India. Tonde, welcome, brother.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm privileged, so to say.
Indeed. Thank you for making time. I know it's getting late. I know it's exam season. But yeah, please just tell us a little bit about yourself. For folks who may not know your story at all, which I think is most of us. Just tell us in a couple lines about yourself.
So, in a couple lines about myself, I can say humble dude from a humble background, and I've had the privilege to be somehow a leader in my own way, and I have had the stage to show what I can do and sometimes what I'm capable of. And I remember this one time in primary school, I had the privilege also of being selected to be in the leadership. So in a way, I can say I'm someone who is lucky to be a leader or a natural leader. And
Right.
of course, like you mentioned, I am currently in university studying mechanical engineering, and it's not always been the goal, but then sometimes circumstance will push you to do something that is there, that is available, and that matches your capabilities and your skills. So
Mm,
yeah, I can say that's almost everything.
absolutely. Yeah, man. What an inspiring story. What an inspiring story. Um, we Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your natural leadership and how you got in this place. So you are at Sheni Primary School, right?
Yes,
What? Okay. Actually, I want to pick on this real quick. You said mechanical engineering might not always have been the dream.
yes, yes.
What were some of your dreams prior to mechanical engineering? What were you thinking?
I think I was the main goal, the main objective since maybe Form 1 was actual science. But then somewhere along the way, I got a glimpse of what medicine could be like. And then a friend told me, you know what, medicine might not always be the thing. You can try other
Yeah.
options. There's engineering. So I started self-reflecting, looking back at, I've done this. Am I really the person for medicine? And then I realized
Mm,
I'm not really someone for medicine. Maybe I'm someone who is into structure and things like that, who is into design.
yeah.
So I just decided, this is the option for me. This is the best I can do. Yes.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. I like how you're thinking about it, because when I was in high school, I had a very similar thought process. And interestingly, it was about medicine as well. Now I'm even less of a structured person than you are. That's why I went into history. I like my stories to tell them, to hear them. But yeah, I think it goes in line with one of my favorite quotes, which is to say, go as far as you can see. And when you get
Yeah,
there,
when you get there,
you see even
you
further,
just feel.
right? Now you can see clearer, right?
I
So,
remember you mentioning that.
okay. Oh, man. Now you know all my tricks. Uh, indeed. And another one that I also say, I say this on one of my songs, like, there's nothing worse than making it to the top of the ladder and finding out that it's been on the wrong building. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you want to
Yeah,
make sure that
yeah,
you're
yeah.
moving, man. So, okay, we'll get back to talking about how that degree is going. But
Okay.
can you tell us about how you became affiliated with Clubhouse International? Do you remember what that process
Yeah.
was and some of the people that you did that with?
Yeah, I remember. I remember a little bit, at least. I remember. I think grade five, somewhere in third term. I was one of those
Hmm.
people. Growing up, you would be searching what's really in you. I loved writing
Hmm.
back then, so teachers would just say good stories, and then there was this thing about writing something about your community, and I got exposed, and it turned out to be that was about Clubhouse. And I remember
Wow.
some main names I can mention: Tinotenda Mazaiwana, Gibson Maganzu. I remember
Yeah.
Talent Bundembe, and other folks I can't really
Yeah.
get my head
Yeah.
around, but I think there were a lot of members, about 30 or 40 members, and I got
Right.
lucky to be part of the 10 that were selected.
Yeah.
And for me, it meant a lot, being told about Clubhouse. And at first, I really couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, what did I really write that got me here? What separated me from the rest of the pack? And
Hmm.
after the thought process, you see, which, man, I really maybe could have just gone a little bit of an extra mile. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's been Clubhouse for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's you have such an excellent mentality, right? Because even thinking about that, sometimes we call that our survivor's remorse, right? That like sometimes we feel like, why am I the one who made it when. And trust us, even from our side as the ones who make the decisions, the competition is tough, and it's really splitting hairs sometimes. But the thing
Yeah,
that I always think about is that two things I always think about when it comes to that. The first thing is sometimes you also think about all the opportunities that you haven't been able to get just because of who you are, where you are, and other things like that. So sometimes if you get opportunities that seem like, I don't know if I earned this, that's also good because it balances out all the times that you didn't get stuff
I
because
didn't
people
just,
just
yeah.
at this, you know. That's
Yes,
one.
sir.
Then the second thing too is an important thing that I always think about is like I got this break for a reason, right? So now because again, what did I do to deserve the little breaks that I got personally as well that got me here? Maybe nothing, but what I will always do is I'll go back and give back and try to get other people who are behind me to come up as well and maybe give them that opportunity.
Yes, yeah,
So
I understand that. And
indeed, indeed.
I'd just like to point out what you said, to also give back. When I first reached out that time, I think it was via Facebook.
Yeah.
That was my goal. I finally understood why maybe I was somehow chosen for Clubhouse. You know, because
Mm.
when I was Form 1, I had this thing about having an impact on others, people's life. Never since then, it just pushed me to the limits. I have to have an impact on someone else's life. In the same way my life was impacted, I can also impact other people.
Absolutely, man. We are so proud of you, Tonde. We can't even. This is not just stuff that we say to you, but when I talk to Mr. Matavire, when I talk to Madam Duri and other people who've been there the whole time, it's just yeah, our hearts are full of praise. You mentioned some of the names that you interacted with, but what are some of the memories or just like things that you keep with you from your experience with Clubhouse? Maybe lessons, maybe just when you think about that experience, what are some of the things that come to mind?
Yeah, I think the first thing I've got is selflessness. You know, this one time, I think we went to, I can't, I think it was a hospital, you know, to do a little bit of cleanup campaigning, and it was my first time having such an experience. Then I realized you can you can go out of your path to lend a hand to the next person, and that in itself it just outshines maybe someone who just looks and ignores the situation. And for me,
Mm,
selflessness has really been the greatest part. I think that something I have taken out of Clubhouse and say, you know what, this can be an inner core, something I keep within myself to say, you know what, I'm always going to go out of my lane for other people, even if it means sacrificing your time, sacrificing your purpose. Sometimes you just have to give back, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, wow. Thank you so much for your perspectives, man. So I wanna go back to now you're in high school. Can you remind me where you went to high school?
Mavudzi High School.
Okay, where is that? Oh, in
Nyazura,
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 yeah,
yes,
Nyazura.
yes.
It's
Yeah,
not a Saint. No, it's not Saint. Oh, Mavuz. Yeah, yeah. All
it's
right.
Mavudzi,
Okay, so
yeah.
Mavuz. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nyazura. Yeah, Manicaland still. So you are over there. You've considered medicine. You've considered this and that. Actuarial science early on. Tell us about. So what did you end up studying for A level?
A level. I had a bit of confusion, as you can tell from the start. You know, I didn't know whether it was going to be
Yeah.
medicine, actual science, and stuff like that. So I ended up, at first, I started taking maths, biology, and chemistry. Then I
Okay.
realized I might not be the person for biology. So I started taking physics, maths,
Okay.
physics, and chemistry. And then along the way, I added some computer science in there because that's where the world is headed. You know, 5G,
Yeah, yeah,
6G.
absolutely.
Without your computer
Absolutely.
science, you won't really know that.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
ended up taking those four for A level. Yeah,
Okay.
I think yeah,
MPC and computer science. Wow, man.
yes.
That's an incredible combination. That's the combination that puts. Well, I know some of our viewers, maybe if they're in the US or in other places with other systems, may not know about the O level and advanced level. I am just saying, like, just just know that if you're doing MPC, at least in my day, right, which is maths, physics, and chemistry, now he's added computer science. That is like the most difficult. At least that's what people think of as being. Of course, it's easier for other people than others, but that's like when you said this people do. I wouldn't even ever thought of doing that. Okay, so you do that, then you do well, then
Yes.
you are back home for a bit, and that's when you and I start talking. But at this point, you
Yes.
also apply for scholarships. Tell us about this scholarship that you ended up getting.
So I really didn't expect it. You know, it's something that millions around the country would really just apply for. And I remember the funny part is I just wanted to overlook the whole thing to say, this is not this is not my thing. Maybe it's not my year to get this one.
Yeah.
I should just I had an option. I was already opting for NAST, but then last day of applications, I just decided I have to apply, and then I applied, and I remember
Oh,
it.
hold on. Before you continue, because we didn't actually say what the scholarship is. Uh, what
Oh,
scholarship is it, and how did you find out about it? And
okay.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's a really easy one. It's the presidential scholarship, and it's there in the Sunday Mails, in the Heralds, and I heard it on
Everywhere.
television. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
everywhere. So it will be hard for you not to hear about it. So that's where I
Right.
got the information. Yeah.
So you're already thinking you're going to go to NAST, which is a
Yes.
good science and technology university in Zimbabwe, right? but you
Yes.
have already sort of like, I'm not gonna give this presidential. Then the day before you decide to give it a shot.
I just decided, you know what, if it's there, why not try? And I remember last day I didn't have one of the requirements was a passport, and I didn't have a
Yeah.
passport, so I ended up having to apply for a passport the same day and take a little bit of evidence that I have now applied for a passport, as and stamp it
Wow.
at the back. It was
Uh,
so. I had already given
yeah.
up on the thing, but
Yeah.
that final push to just say, let me do this.
Uh, so now you put in the application. But you are at this point you're still getting things in order for NAST possibly.
Yes,
Even
yes. I was still planning for NAST. In
yeah.
fact, I had my whole site set on NAST, because I remember after application, the reply, it took a long time. I think
Right.
NAST it was opening 28. I remember NAST it was opening 28 August, and the whole reply it's not coming. And on the day of I should depart for NAST, I decided,
Wow.
I'm not going to go today. I'm going to go
Hmm.
maybe a day later. And then 4 o'clock on the day, I decided I'm not going. I just received a call. You know what? You got the scholarship. You can come to
No,
Harare the next day.
hold on. Who decides not to go to like what got in your head the day before that made you say I'm because most
I
people
don't,
going.
I don't even know. I don't even because a funny part. The whole time I'm saying, I'm keeping the money. I'm saying I'm going to pay when I arrive. So it was
Yeah.
maybe a hunch, one of those instincts that's just telling you there's something out
Yeah.
there.
Wow. Then the following day you get this call, right? Well, it was a phone call.
Yes.
It was what was
It was it
yeah.
was a phone call. Yeah, it was a phone call, and they told they call first, and then they told me they're going to call later. So I just
Okay.
decided. At first, I thought maybe it was some scam, someone just trying to have fun with you. Then
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
Yeah. And then I realized after the second call, I realized, yeah, it might be, it is serious, and then I got added to the group. I was actually the first member in that group. And yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Hmm.
so it's been a journey, so to say.
Does did all the people on the scholarship come to so okay, so what university what's your university called? You say Aditya?
Aditya, yes,
Aditya, okay.
yes.
Aditya. Okay. So does the presidential scholarship just go to Aditya then, or are they partnered with different universities?
I think they are partnered with many more other universities other
Okay.
than this one, because you can hear there
Yeah.
are some in Gujarat, there are some in Vignan, there are
Okay.
many. Yeah, no, it's not
Okay.
just one.
It's not just one, yeah. But are there other people who are in that program who ended up at your university too?
Yes, quite a number actually. I think about
Okay.
60 to 70.
Wow. 60?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. All right. Shout out to the presidential scholarship. Okay. Wow. I didn't know it was
Yeah,
that big. That's really good.
yes.
All right. So now you are so so is Aditya also the name of the city that you're in? Or what city are you in?
I think the city is called Kakinada, and then they call it, the state is called Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra Pradesh. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Would you say that's in the south, or what part of India is that in?
I think
Oh,
south, definitely south.
south. Do you know anything that our listeners here would recognize that is probably close to it? Maybe like, is it close to a certain country? Is there what is it known for outside of the university?
Outside of the
Huh?
university, I think it's the closest one to the Indian Ocean. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
that's what it's well known for, and it's probably India's the highest production area. Farmers
Yeah.
everywhere.
Okay. So like the bread basket of India, we can even
Yeah,
say
the
that.
breadbasket of
Oh,
India. Yeah.
all right. Wow. Aditya University in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So how's that going? How's the degree? so far? You've been you're finishing your first year now.
Yes.
Tell us
I
about.
think first, at first, when you start doing something, you think maybe you start having second thoughts. Maybe I was meant for another type of engineering, maybe electrical, maybe that. But then, after a little bit of self-reflection, like I said earlier, you
Mm,
realized what you have done so far and where you have come from so far. This is the right thing for me, and I think it's been going well. But at some points you hit rock bottom. You don't understand that. You don't get that. But then
mm,
you soldier on. You say, you know what? I'm just gonna shake off this dust and keep thriving.
right.
And I have to say, it's quite a challenging program in a way. But
Mm.
I think I'm doing quite well. I'm doing quite well. I scored a CGPA of 9.1. So yeah, I think it's amazing.
Yeah. No, you're doing very well, man. And a lot of the considerations, as you know, I teach at a university myself. Those are like very normal first year of, especially if you've like had such a sudden change, right? Like the space, like from Zim to India. That's not even like a space that like other places you can go to, like South Africa, or even go to the UK or something like that. But we are kind of familiar with that culture, right? Whereas like when you go to like a place like India, I'm assuming that you didn't, it's not like we watch a lot of Indian theater or listen to a lot of Indian, So tell us a little bit about the culture shock or just like the cultural adaptation. How are you
Yeah, it's a.
finding being
I,
just being in that space?
I think I have to say it's a big, very very big reset. A completely different view. One way your culture. This fun Zimbabwean vibe, and all of a sudden you are now exposed to the Indian way of things, and it's quite.
Hmm.
They don't really have that extra Zimbabwean. I must. They
Yeah,
just they just lay low. I think
hmm,
very shy individuals publicly,
yeah,
and it's been different, so to say. But adapting is not easy. It really took a while until you can talk to someone. Talk to an Indian guy. What's
hmm,
up, man? Can I get this? How do you do this? And they're quite held back individuals. So if I can say, the shy type, and it's not as easy as you might have thought. Maybe I'm just going to take a couple of seconds and I will hit it off with these guys. It's not.
yeah.
It's not like
It's not
that.
that. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
But you,
there are people who really, I think they really love their culture. Everything they do is based
hmm,
on what does the culture say, and it's amazing how they
hmm,
tally their day-to-day activities and their culture together, and it's a massive massive character in a person. And I think innovatively also they are great thinkers. I've learned stuff. I don't even know what to say. I've
yeah.
learned stuff, a lot of things that I realized if I were back home I would have never known this. If I were
You
back
would have,
home I
yeah.
would have. Yeah. So it's
Wow.
a joyride. It's a joyride.
It's a joyride, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you've been able to? That's incredible, man. Do you feel like you've been able to establish some semblance of community? Do you have you found your people, so to speak, or however you define your people? Do you have a community?
I think to say I have a community, it will be somehow, I don't know, but let me say it's quite, as I said, it's quite difficult, to really
Hmm.
connect with them on that other level to say we're now one big. But I think there's one guy. Yeah, he's the sort of the class representative. I
Okay.
think if I were to say I have someone, I would probably point him out. He's
Okay.
always is that one guy who's always there. You want
Yeah.
this, he's always there, and I can't say I have a community, but
Mm.
it's working.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah. I think I think my hope and prayer is that is that as the need arises, you find the people you need for that need. You know what I mean? I think that's the it doesn't
Yes,
necessarily have to be like I've got 1,000 people but just the people that you need as you grow,
yes,
Indeed.
I think
So
that's crucial.
absolutely, man. And yeah. So man, so how long is this degree supposed to be?
4 years, 4.
4 years. Okay.
Yes.
25% done almost. What does what are some of your hopes and dreams beyond this point?
I think
Where does it
I think at this point, let me start with at this point. I'm just
Mm,
looking at I'm aiming for first class in
okay.
fact, first class degree, and that's
Okay.
that's that's my main target at this point. And also I think getting employment afterwards is top of the list, with
Yeah,
everything that's
yeah.
going on, the recessions and the likes. You would really hope if you finish, maybe you always hope you get lucky. Like I've been pushed thus far, and one last extra push, and I'll be there.
I'll be there, yeah. Ah.
Yes,
So see, but those sound I wanna push you a little bit harder. Because I think those are like normal next steps, you know what I mean? Yeah, of course you wanna get a job. That's why we go to university and these things. But I want you to be speculative. I want you to say Tonde in 20 years time, right? Because that's kind of like maybe 15 years from me right now. I'm 37. So I'm just saying, if you can imagine, not just in the immediate short term, say it goes well and now you're 45 years old. What are you up to?
I think I think this is I've told you this at the beginning. My
Yeah.
main major objective, is I let me start at the beginning of the story. When I was Form
Mm,
1 during a geography lesson, you know,
mm,
the geography teacher said, I look around the environment of this school and then I realized no one notices what happens to the next person. You know, have you ever sat back to think you can have an impact on someone's life? And then ever since that day, my main major objective, is I have to have an impact on the next person's life. If everything
mm.
goes well, man, I'm looking forward to working to have an impact on other people's life, be it starting an organization, whatsoever, even joining up with you guys, whatever it takes, man. I think that's me in 45 years' time, after the achievements whatsoever. That's the main
Yeah,
objective.
man. You're such a brilliant young man, Tonde. I can't say that enough. To our viewers, as Clubhouse International, one of our fundraisers that we do annually is a fantasy soccer league with the based on the premiership. But people just donate to participate in it. Then we get like little prizes here and there from our sponsors. But this first year is the first year that we had somebody who actually came up to the program who participated in that, and that's Tonde here. So that was a very good time, and that's just early stages of his involvement, right? And I also just want to emphasize, which is something he mentioned, that he actually sought to reconnect with me and other team members when he graduated high school, which is not something that we get a lot of. A lot of times we're actually trying to chase down to see where the alumni are or other people. This is one of those rare times. It's happened 3 or 4 times, but I remember, Tonde was one of the people I think might have been the first one to do that. So we are very proud of you. We appreciate you so much. I know again it's
Yes.
late in India and it's that season. I don't want to hold you too long. My final question to you, Tonde, is
Yes.
uh, part A and part B. One, just if you can give a word of encouragement to other students who are in the clubhouse program and other just kids who are coming up sort of in your footsteps. Then secondly, if you just have a word back for people back home, just to a shout out or anything.
Okay, I think I'll start with part A. You know, other kids who are taking the same footsteps. It's not an easy road. You have to you have to cock up that courage and literally take the bull by its horns, as some would say. You know, you have to ignore a lot of things. I watched. I can give an example of high school. I watched people I came up with fall because of simple relationships. I watched people fall because, you know, I cannot take this. Someone chooses the wrong combination. In fact, so I have to say you have to ignore the world and focus on yourself. Self-reflection, I have to say, is the most important things. You look. I think if I can use a little bit of Shona, you look at yourself. What was Tarisa Iwewe as an individual? Kuti, what am I really good at? What's my goal? What am I aiming to do? And you draft that down, write down your aims. And I always emphasize this to myself. Before I start doing something, I have to write down my aim. You can never hit a target that you cannot see. So to all the people watching, to all the young ones who are following in the same footsteps, I have to say, you have to be strong and really ignore the world and focus on yourself mostly.
Absolutely, man.
And to a
You
shout
know,
out back
in
home,
hold on, I was just gonna say in poetry, when we do poetry shows, this is when we snap our fingers. You know, that's to say like, all right, this guy is cooking right now. That's very wise words, man. And please go ahead with your shout outs, indeed.
nah, I don't have much. I think maybe to my little brother who is also at Sheni. I think
Nice.
he's my greatest encouragement right now. You know, I just talk to him to keep pushing him because I think he's
Yeah,
quite good. Yeah, I think
yeah,
he's my major shout out, and to everyone else who is listening, I think you have heard what I had to say, and that's the
sure.
important part.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. What grade is your brother in? We'll keep an eye out on him over there.
I think
Yeah.
now five, grade five.
Five. Okay, it's coming. It's coming
Yeah.
up. It's coming up. All right. No, that was Tonderai Mayisiri. Thank you so much, brother. I know we've been trying to get this done for a while now, but we also wanted to wait until you've had some experience in university so you actually have a word to share back. But I wouldn't have started this series in any other way. This is the way I wanted to start this series. You're the first conversation I wanted to have. We are very, very proud of you. You are already Clubhouse family. So, say like when you were talking about maybe join up with you guys, or trust me, it will just be your role that changes. You've already joined up with us. You know what I mean? It will just be like we'll just be figuring out how else we can use your skills and so forth. And we're not getting any younger. We're gonna need directors soon. So it'll be you taking
That's
over. Thank you so much, Tonde. And for everybody else watching, make sure to share, like, and subscribe to this video. And just stay tuned. We continue to fundraise and program for the cause so we can have more people walking in the same footsteps that Tonderai has walked. Thank you guys for your
Thank you for
time.
having me.
Indeed.
Thank you for
Sure,
having me.
sure.